Hello, everyone. Hope you're well. Hope all is good. I'm just trying to see if I can get my stream count on my big screen, but probably not. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know what's happening, where you're from, all that kind of good stuff, like normal. And then we're going to have a bit of an open discussion, so to speak. Nothing crazy, though. Nothing crazy. Let's be honest. It's going to be a quick, simple live today. Hopefully, fingers crossed. So, yeah, we'll get into it. The title's obvious. ETFs. More ETFs are coming, which is interesting, I know. So that side of it will be very, very interesting to see what happens. We've also got CPI day tomorrow, so be mindful of that too. That could be fun. So yeah, we'll go into it, we'll crack on, and we'll have a bit of fun with it. I've just noticed that my viewer thing isn't working on Streamlabs, which is really annoying. Why are things just not working anymore for me? Hate it. Why did things just break? Should probably try and fix that, really. Let me just try and fix that quickly before we go on to certain things. Anyways, let me know what your opinion is of the ETF rumors. Let me know if you are looking forward to CPI day tomorrow. I will be doing a live stream of CPI tomorrow, by the way, which might be very, 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 very interesting. Just saying. Bear with me while I figure out what on earth's happening here. Stupid bloody YouTube. Rather annoying that it's no longer working. I mean, it was working perfectly fine. Until said things have broken. Nope, not working. Not even working. I kind of give up with it. Nothing's working. I'm confused. Live streams. My God. Anyways, let's get into the actual video. Why not? Bollocks for that. I'll sort that another day. So, there we go. We're working, kind of. So, with my opinion on all this, don't forget to like and follow. Obviously, this is live, so please do. We've had this news that popped out. And this news is very, very, very interesting. Why? Because Ripple, obviously, Solana, Litecoin, Dogecoin, ETFs are highly likely, according to said media, said informants, whatever you want to know it as, right? So that kind of thing could be very, very interesting, right? Now, in my humble opinion, if I was to say Litecoin and probably Dogecoin, I wouldn't have picked them as ETFs. Just wouldn't. Especially Dogecoin because of the inflation side of it. It's quite heavy inflation, right? Everyone's got an opinion on it, but it's not really an investment vehicle. Let's be perfectly honest with you. It's not, is it? Let's be honest. And I know I'm doing this live stream a little bit early and it's a bit quiet at the minute, but when we talk about Dogecoin, let's keep this quiet. They release a lot of tokens and that's just going to dilute it. So why would it be an ETF? That's my overall point on it. Bitcoin, it works because it's got scarcity, and we're going to talk about that diminishing supply in a bit. So there is a tangent I'm going on. XRP is an interesting one too, because it has a massive amount of supply and it's very, very good with the banks. But XRP has, at the minute, the lowest approval rate, whereas Litecoin has the highest, and Dogecoin has a relatively high likelihood as well. Litecoin is obviously proof of work and all that kind of stuff. So it's really, really interesting to see where this is going to go. And obviously, Hedra and Polkadot, weirdly, just pick two coins. That'll do. So, are we looking here at the first load of blue chip stocks? No, cryptocurrencies as blue chips, which is a term for the stock market. There we go. That's my wording. So, interesting. Obviously, XRP has had a huge issue with obviously regulatory bollocks, so to speak, because of obviously, certain law cases and all kinds of shit, basically. So that's a problem. But now that may be a thing of the past. So let me know in the comments, let me know in the chat box what you think on the ETFs. And Will it perform well? Now, I have another open question. This is the Ethereum ETF. It's not done very well. Put it that way. It's done okay from November, but from November, very, very tippy-tappy. And on my company YouTube, we're doing a video on this in more detail. Feel free to find the channel and subscribe, or if you want to buy some more courses or whatever and learn more, you can. But we asked ourselves, basically, what will it do? And we often think, like, marketing-wise, Ethereum's probably very hard to sell, weirdly. I mean, how do you explain Ethereum? What is it? Oh, people are going to just go, oh, it's a supercomputer, it's smart contract. Doesn't really wash, does it? Whereas with Litecoin, you can kind of market that better. With XRP, you can definitely market that better because of what it is. Solana is probably easier to market as well, and I'd probably even argue Dogecoin's easier to market than Ethereum. You got to remember, with an ETF, it is cash settlement. It's USD, they get units, their units go up in value as per percentages of the underlying asset, which is obviously Ethereum, whatever. So that's easy for them. But does Ethereum just lack that kind of wow factor? Bitcoin's easy to market, in my opinion, but that's my opinion. But let's talk about some of the stuff that's been kind of fizzling away in the background. The 4-year cycle. We're going to talk about CPI. We're going to talk about what's happening next, right? Because Miles has put this on, and it's a really long read, and we're not going to go through all of it, but let me know as well in the comments. Feel free to interact, and I will come back to you, don't worry. Is the 4-year cycle dead? We're entering a new paradigm for crypto. It's either adapt or die. Oh, look, the things that do jump out is obviously the scarcity factor. So again, we talk about marketing, we talk about ETFs. Scarcity makes numbers rise, supply and demand. So Bitcoin has that covered. That bit doesn't worry me in its overall opinion. Obviously, the power of it may be a bit different. The cost of mining is interesting, and we always talk about death cycles with miners, but it hasn't really been a thing for a long time. Obviously, yes, ETFs, cool. That makes it a bit different. But what is the biggest difference is this. We know altcoins are not doing anything. And the Bitcoin element is huge. And I mentioned my yesterday's live stream. Again, as I say, subscribe. I'm here most days about 1:30 usually, but I'm doing it earlier today because my missus has to go out and we've got decorators in, so the dogs will go berserk, and then it'll be a chaotic end to the stream. So that's why I'm doing a bit earlier. We're not seeing that money flow from Bitcoin into Ethereum, into small caps, or large caps, small caps, alt season sort of vibe, right? That's where it's a little bit different. But that doesn't mean it's the end of the cycle. It just means that the cycle's on a much different path, kind of ish, especially when it becomes the Bitcoin cycle. And then you got the retail cycle. Okay. So, yeah, my opinion on the retail side of it, and it comes to like this tweet as well. I've seen this tweet before and I covered it. Are we looking at niche bull markets, which is speculatively run from Pump Fund, from Moonshot, from Slingshot, potentially the new ones coming out, where it's very, very easy to onboard people, but ultimately the bigger assets, so to speak, don't get pushed around much, but ultimately the meme coins and the random shit does. Maybe that might be the different side of it this time. So it may be acting very, very different. So it's interesting to see where it is. As I say, though, it's not the best analogies of all of this. Obviously, the good news is there's no 4-year cycle. This means there won't be more, it's just I think it's evolution. But then we got tech dev talking, what if instead of the end, this was the beginning? Very, very interesting. I know. Where are we? It feels like we're just starting out. Feels like we're just starting out. Feels like we're just starting out. Oh, feels like, what's this? The 4-year cycle. And what's interesting, the first comment here is Miles. It's neither. Bitcoin has already run from 16K to 106K. Majority of upside already tapped. Yeah, but the analysis here is showcasing, well, actually, we could go much higher here, which is interesting, right? So when you think about the move overall in this chart, and when we look on the left-hand side as well, we've got like certain amount of dollars, right, so to speak. We've hardly moved, and yet this hasn't. It's interesting, isn't it? It's really interesting where we are. Certainly when it comes to the main seed. I love looking at comments to see where people are on it. It's just wild, really. But let's talk about CPI. CPI tomorrow I will do a live kind of thing on it because it comes out at the same time I go live. So I'll be live a little bit earlier. Like the good old days I used to do CPI reactions. I used to enjoy doing them. Schedule for a 2.9, which is relatively okay, but it depends if it comes in. If it comes in at 3, if it comes in lower than that, maybe the market pumps. But what is interesting, obviously, the core inflation rate is somewhat consensus is to come in lower, which is good. So that might be a big factor. So we need to keep an eye on it. For me, we need a good CPI print. We need a good, bit of data. We've had good non-farm payroll data. If we've got good CPI data, it would indicate that the market's still doing its thing and it needs to be okay. It may well lead to the fact of potential interest rate changes in March, which is the next FOMC. We'll see. We'll see how it goes there. But obviously, with interest rates, currently right now, the plot is not the greatest in the world. Where is it? There, yeah. So in terms of that, this is where we are right now. Consensus is probably going to be a pause, essentially, still. But again, this is a forecast. The forecast, we're not expecting a drop until roughly June. At the minute, that's obviously could change. But anyways, let's go over to the chat and see what's happening. As you can see, my entire chat box is fucked off. My thing at the top is fucked off. I want to cry. Why has it done that? I hate this bloody stupid thing. Ugh. Where's the chat box? Where's me chat? There's me chat. There's me chat. Hello. It's very quiet, this live stream today. Super quiet today. No one is here today. I feel like I've done it on the wrong channel today. It's like no one is interested at all. I think the title hasn't helped, though, let's be honest. 67 people on. So what we got? So pig monkey, giant Yorkshire pudding wrap. Oof. I do like a Yorkshire pudding wrap. Yorkshire puddings don't really like me, though. I'll be honest with you. Listening away since 2020. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. It is very much feels like bear market vibes today, though. Wow. There's only 64 people on today. There's still over 200 yesterday. That's where we are right now. Miles flip flops all over the place. I mean, yeah, it's engagement. It's X. I'm at the point of like, what's the point in X half the time? And that's the thing. We don't know what's going to happen next, but ultimately, if you're going to write about it, you want to back it up with something at least. But it felt like a bit of a nothing kind of thread, realistically, because it's kind of like it goes around in one big circle. What else we got? Honest thoughts on Dogecoin multi-chain. I like the idea. I think it needed it. I think with runes, I think the more fingers in pies you've got, the better it is. And I like the idea in a way. I like the strategy. I like the element of not having to rely on certain centralized exchanges, so to speak. I think that's where the problem lies. Let's be honest. We're relying too much on them. Feels like no one has any idea where we are. All I'm doing is hoping we have some kind of all season by April. Yeah, it's true. The thing is, this market feels very interesting right now. It feels different. It does. It feels genuinely different to last cycle. And that's where I think people are getting a bit pissed off. And I am as well. Like, I'm bored of it now. I'm like, you invest, and as I said before, me and Gaz did a video, which is coming out tonight. And he made the observation, well, it felt like with altcoins, you just bought something solid at the lows, and then eventually they rotated around. But because it hasn't happened yet, it's like that fear's kind of kicking in now. And when we talk about, obviously, ETFs, that could be a narrative change. That could be interesting with the ETFs, obviously. We've got, obviously, different factors, and the different factors are that Bitcoin reacts to the CPI, it reacts to FOMC, it reacts to non-farm payroll, and it reacts to mainstream news now. Whereas, realistically, it never used to. Years ago, it never used to be a problem at all. So whenever they react, altcoins obviously drop even more, and then it's worse. It's like, oh, so it's one of those. It's a really, really odd one. It's evolution, but ultimately, I think a lot of people have vanished. Honestly, I do. A lot of influencers have buggered off. A lot of people are just not interested anymore. But that might be a good thing. That might make it a better space, more of a tolerable state. It just depends on how you are. But right now, it's quiet. It's very, very quiet. Even though the market's green, and we'll do some analysis in a minute, the market is green and people are not here. It's really funny. Even though this title is relatively bullish, more crypto ETFs coming. I mean, I could change the title and go bullish, 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 and just put a green thumbnail, and people might turn up, but it doesn't always work out. Discord seems quieter than normal. Yeah, it does. It's a lull. I think one thing as well, right, is I'll show you on the screen. You'll probably figure this out very quickly as soon as I put it on the screen, right? It's going to take you 2 seconds. February is often green and bullish. What are we? We're red. We're very red. So what's that? Negative bias confirmation already confirmed, so to speak, right? Because people are expecting green, green, green. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, we're 11 days into February, fair enough. But it's not been the normal February kind of ilk versus the last cycle or the last year, right? When we think about it. So where we are currently would be 2021. It was much, much, much greener. So yeah, it's interesting, right? That might turn around. It might flip on a sixpence. It might flip from tomorrow. CPI data might be good. It might change the narrative a little bit and people might get excited again. So yeah, stuff like that is somewhat interesting when you think about it in the logical terms, because people are probably expecting it and it's not. It's like, oh, it's a bit crap, isn't it? Feels different in a good way or bad way. Only been in crypto 2 years. Didn't expect this peak to be this depressing. It's a bit of both, really. It depends what you're holding. If you're holding Bitcoin, you probably think it's quite good because you've already made a lot of returns, and you know, stuff like that for me is certainly important, in my opinion. When you look at the bad side of it, altcoins have done a lot less coverage. Like they've hardly moved, literally hardly moved, and that's where the problem lies. Whereas last cycle, you know, at least the Ethereum BTC pair was trickling up slightly, and something was happening. But this cycle, there's nothing's happened. Same with other ones. I mean, even Solana's are even ranging for the last year and a half in the BTC pair, whereas people were like, "Oh, it's really good, Solana." Yeah, it's good, but ultimately, it's not made your life-changing money in Bitcoin wealth terms. It's crazy. But yeah, it is pretty depressing. But if it corners you into being a better investor by being realistic, calm, measured, whatever you want to know it as, you'll find that you'll become better. Because I think one thing as well, and I kind of include myself in this basket. People became a crypto investor at a certain time where it was up only for a long, long time, and like people got very, very wealthy. It changed lives, changed my own life. But now it's very different. It's like you've got to be a lot more tactical, player v player sort of vibe. So yeah, you might become better at the end of it. I thought by now also be flying. Hopefully things will pick up. I was hoping for the same thing as last year, where we had a little bit of a relief, where Bitcoin would chill out, relax with the inauguration of Donald Trump. There'd be a bit of speculative kind of, you know, gameplay, so to speak, and we might well chill out and relax. But altcoins have not done anything with that situation. It's mad. So what we need is green candles. Bull run gaslighting us into thinking 2024, 25 would be the same. Yeah, maybe. Ash, what if every month that we would expect the green goes red and vice versa? Would not the monthly returns look a lot like 2017? Let me have a look. So 2017, maybe. I mean, I don't know. 2017 was a bit of a freak, really. It really was. It was like, if you look at the Ethereum side of it, absolute freak, craziness. But it was the ICO boom. What about if we have niche bull markets and like Solana meme coins fly? So I've just looked there on the chart, but there's not a lot. Bear with me. There's not a lot really to look at in terms of this. So with obviously 2017, as you can see, shit start of the year. Hardly any move, 23%, nothing, and then boom. Honestly, it was crazy. I don't know. As I said, niche bull markets. What about if Ethereum meme coins fly 1 month, or Bitcoin runes or Bitcoin meme coins, ordinals fly for a bit, and then AI stuff moon? You know, you just don't know what's going to happen realistically next. We'll see. We'll see. The big problem we have is obviously we can't go off past performance. We can't, right? But normally, Q1 is usually pretty green. You can see that in the bottoms. Normally. And then it's normally summer that's a bit shit. And then we'll go into winter and it normally improves. So yeah, it just depends on so many factors. It could be a lot you know, a lot more obvious than we think, really. But hey ho, it is what it is, unfortunately. I've lost my chat box. 30 likes. Come on, let's get over 50 likes. Come on, let's go. Let's get this surging. Let's get the love in. Is there any truth in there? There's too many altcoins now. Yes, 100%. Or is there something? Oh, there's far too many altcoins. Far too many altcoins. If you think about 2017, 2018, there was a lot, but not like we went from 20 decent ones you'd invest in to about 200, right? In terms of what you'd invest in, because they were ICOs, and it created that spark that you put money into something and you made money. Literally, you would. It was infinity cash machine. It was ridiculous, right? Whereas now there's that many choices. We're talking nearly like 8 to 10 years of evolution of altcoins now, right? They've grown up, but they've also been manipulated massively. VCs, public sales are no longer a thing. These angel funds are kind of diluting it massively. They're putting their money onto the table, and they're like calling the shots. Exchanges are calling the shots as well. So there's all them little factors now that are like, well, once an exchange gets them, what do they do? Well, they get the coins from the team, the devs, and what do? They sell them for profit. Binance, basically. So stuff like that, we've got to be very, very careful with. And then we've got loads of them because it's easy to make money, right? And then teams have already made their money, and then they're not that bothered after that. And then they just pitter-patter about and do nothing, unfortunately. Hey Ash, surely meme coins are behind us at this stage. Potentially. I don't know. It's an interesting one. We shall see. I mean, bear with me. If you're thinking I'm sounding a bit weird, by the way, I've got a bit of a cold, so I do apologize. Where are we at? Categories. Memes. So with meme coins, right? Some of these are great, but also some of these are popular. And then that adds again to the dilution because people are interested in meme coins. Obviously, look at the volume. The volume is pretty good on some of these, not all of them, but 7.81 million volume overall on a $72 billion market cap, which is essentially meme coins. I wouldn't have put that on my bingo card back in the day. But right now, right, the volume, right, the overall market volume is low. Everything's low. It's crazy low. It's like we're down 8%. Now, if we go volume, right, the volume back in, when was that? The 20th of January, 380 billion. Now 95 billion, right? Again, likewise here at these little peaks, 107. And we just melted. Obviously, a lot of sell volume here, obviously. But right now, we're settling down at like the 90s. It's ridiculous when you think about it. If we go back over a year and we look at certain tops and stuff, we're into the 300 billions quite a lot, really, every now and again. So yeah, we're kind of in a bit of a lull right now. It's a bit shit, really. So yeah, it kind of shows low stream volume, low engagements on X, low interest across the board. It's just one of those things, and it happens all the time. We have these lulls, and people are just not interested. But it's just the way it is. And a lot of people say, well, what about where does all the money go? Well, you got most of the money in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all of the money pretty much in Tether, pretty much. So where's the rest of it? Well, it's not going into them ones, is it? It's very interesting. People don't like that, though. 38 likes, and we get to 40. Come on, I'm begging now. I feel like I'm in the bear market. Absolutely awful. People are just not interested. I need to look at YouTube actually and just see what's happening. So in 2021, Q1 was green and Q2 was red. Is it possible for that to be the other way around? Well, 2021 was a bit of an anomaly because of COVID, with quantitative easing and stuff like that. I mean, if we go back in time a bit, and this is where you're going to probably get scared. I do apologize. With the likes of COVID, right? If we go back in time and have a little gander, we already started to rally, right? Now, this is where it gets interesting. Now, this is where people have a difference of opinion. We were starting to rally. So this was 2019, right? This was 2018. So 2018 bear market, consolidation, rotten ugliness. And we started to rally here. We had a real big correction, right? A lot of this was due to Ponzi schemes and stuff like that, right? But we also corrected, and then we started to rally up again. We broke structure, and we were going for another 10k retest. And then something happened in China. You may remember it. Someone ate a bat, people got ill, and it collapsed the market. And then from these points onwards, we had a thing called quantitative easing, where fuck, the economy's dying, we need to prop it up a little bit. Oh, let's print some money. Boom, right? And that's why we got the inflation problem and interest rate problem, and that is why we're still mopping up today. With that being said, that makes it a bit of an anomaly, a bit of a black swan, you may call it, a V-shaped recovery, and absolutely bonkers, by the way, when you look at it. And it created wealth very, very quickly because people bought with conviction, but also people got destroyed as well with the leverage. But when you look at this, you're thinking, fuck, we're on, we're off, we're on, we're away. Because overall, when you look at this structure from the low to the high, we went to the 618 and people were getting very excited about it. Boom, boom. But obviously the technical still held up, so to speak, even though we had that crash. And then off we went. Boom. Off we fucking went. So yeah, it was different. And there was a reason why it was different. But ultimately, as I said, past performance doesn't indicate future performance as well. It just doesn't. It's just the way it is. So we have to be very, very mindful of like looking at the past a lot because sometimes you'll get it wrong, which is fine. I understand that. But at the end of the day, this time around, we have higher interest rates. We have QT policy, which is quantitative tightening still. The balance sheet is still they're trying to get it lower. And we've got a new president. So it doesn't really work out. But on the other side of the spectrum, realistically, bear with me, the S&P 500 is in and around, bear with me, its all-time highs. It's still up here. We haven't corrected enough. If that's going to become a problem, I don't think it will. The Russell, often a really good indicator to indicate where the Bitcoin and the altcoin market go. What about if that goes and retests its high? Well, maybe. The dollar is still high. This needs to come down. So there's a lot of elements, but I think the overall word I'm looking for is it's risk off at the moment, basically, certainly for Bitcoin. However, gold. Gold is still doing well. Maybe gold profits will rotate into Bitcoin soon. Maybe. So many unanswered questions and so much things happening. The problem also, I think, is that new coins coming out with, full massive dilutions into billions with only 10 to 20% of the market. Retail like us, smarting up, 100%. That's what the problem is. So Near Protocol is a fantastic example of that. When we talk about the obvious in the room is dilution. And so in a nutshell, right, and I talk about Near quite a lot because I like it. I don't hold it anymore though. So when Near came out, best things in sliced bread, amazing asset. I bought the lows, but when you think about this area here, scarcity was a big factor. Over time, FTX crumbled, Luna crumbled, and the same thing happened to them was crumbling of their own asset due to basically emissions and obviously FTX and VC firms going under because of that, right? So they had to liquidate their coins. This is why it just died, right? Obviously, corrected itself, went back up, but when you talk about like the BTC pair or you talk about the market capitalization, they've got way more tokens out now versus up here. Therefore, their market cap, if you go to $8, is nearly their all-time high market cap. So for them to get like USD price all-time high, their market cap is going to be way higher. And it's going to become quite hard. And then you times that by however many coins got the same model, doesn't work. This is where there's a problem. RSR, is another great example. Came out, rocketed. I did well on it. I really like it. I still do like it. I wouldn't buy it again though because there's that many tokens. It's never going to go up towards like these levels. And if you look at the BTC pair of it, it's even worse. Like, oh my God. you may well make some gains, but ultimately the amount of token emissions that are out, it's just going to become so much harder, and you've got that many tokens, and that's what the problem is. Basically, what's happening is we're inflating, the total market cap. So this number on the right-hand side is always going to get bigger because new tokens, internet magic money, is just coming out of thin air. It's like, oh, there's a new token. How big's that? 2 billion. Whoa, fuck, where did that come from? The next big thing at the minute is hype. Is it hype? Oops, Hyperliquid. Literally 8 billion now, 24.16. I know. Madness, isn't it? So stuff like that is going to become a bit of an issue. So people are going to look at this and go, yeah, cool, whatever. But I want to buy it anyway, so I like it. But what happens when these start? Obviously, there you go. So from the end of this year, it's going to start bleeding tokens. So yeah, unlocked 31%, locked up 23%. The rest of it, where's that going to go? Yeah, that's where the problem lies. So as I say, the model, it becomes a problem. And when you add it over time, it becomes an issue. But hey, it is what it is, unfortunately. You go back to the full screen. Hello, I'm back. I'm all over the place today because I've got a cold and my computer's not working as it should be. I've also got a bit rate problem. My bit rate's deciding to just, I want to die now. Other questions before I go. I'm not going to be around for too long today, to be fair. I need to go and do stuff, and the missus has to go out, and I've got decorators in, so it's a bit chaotic. Start predicting the future instead of stuck in the past. Only cycle repeats is the Bitcoin having. I mean, I predicted the future last time, and people hated me for it, and I was right. So I don't like doing ballsy calls nowadays. I'm just get bored of it. I was the only one that was selling at the peak of the last cycle. I know that sounds arrogant, but I made a lot of money and I'm out of here. And then people like hated me for it. And then the market collapsed. And then 6 months later, people came back to me and going, oh, wow, you were right. I hated you for ages because you kind of burst my bubble. But yeah. But all I did then was I predicted the past. So it works. So yeah, always look at the past because that gives you future. That gives you data. You got to go off the past. You can't just make it up as you go along. Fucking hell, it's called guessing. It's called gambling. When bull markets don't know. When the liquidity returns. Thing is, if the CPI print tomorrow is interesting and good, it might well spark a bit of a relief rally. At the end of the day, right? In reality terms, we're down a lot. There's going to be a bounce. There's going to be there's going to be liquidations. There's going to be certain situations where a little bounce will create a bit of a spike, and that will create a short squeeze, and then that will create an interest, and that interest will slowly cascade up towards, oh, we've bounced a little bit. Obviously, yes, different altcoins do different things, but most of them are down, especially since November. Maybe we'll get a relief bounce. Mark says the same thing as I've been saying for a while, but I don't do it. Sell in May and go away. What about if this time in May is different? So yeah. So this market cycle sentiment finally up to date. This time is indefinite. It feels different. The difference in this cycle versus last cycle is the difference between Bitcoin and altcoins. It's very different. Even though we had a capitulation, right, of like last cycle. So going back again. Sorry for anyone that's like going to whinge about going back in time. You can't do that all the time. When we had this spike to the upside, and this little upside here, right, was like 100 days, give or take, where it spiked, the Bitcoin dominance. It wasn't that bad because at the same time, Bitcoin was pumping and some altcoins were still moving. So you never really noticed it. It was only certain things that kind of happened here. Whereas this time around, when we're looking at this going up here and slowly trickling up and doing whatever, the altcoins are at lows. And as I say, you didn't notice it as much because you already had decent returns before that. You already had like little drop-offs. And if I look at the Ethereum.D, for example, right? So Ethereum.D, you can't really notice a capitulation event realistically in that time frame because it wasn't really a thing. Whereas this time around, it's just like, ugh. So when we look at the same time frame where things spiked, yeah, don't get me wrong, we went down, but it was nothing crazy because we were already kind of trending up. Whereas this time, it's like it's going down, 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 and still going down. That's kind of the point. So again, if we look at, say, Link's probably a bad example, but Link was running all the way through into that time period. Then all of a sudden it just nuked itself because it kind of ran before the cycle. Let's have a look at Cardano. There we go. Cardano, can you really see that kind of nuke? I mean, we were running up beforehand and then we pulled back and then alt season. But would you rather have it like that and go towards the lows, or would it be like this where it's actually gone to old time new lows and maybe going even lower? It's like, ugh. So that's where the difference is this time around. So maybe this is getting towards bottoming signs because how low can we go? We're already going down to like 2020, 2021 levels. Ugly. Disgusting. But hey, it is what it is. What else have we got? So, thank you, DCF. Appreciated you coming in. And we got to 50 likes. Get in. God, the benchmark is low today, boys and girls. Well, if not in May, then look at the Pi cycle. The Pi cycle is an interesting one. The Pi cycle is saying, oh, I don't even know what it's saying now. Maybe September time, top. Inverted commas. That will obviously change. Wizard, Kyle, Internet Magic Money. The biggest meme coin on Bitcoin. Incoming. Ooh. Next live, when you talk about calls from the past, you should share the screenshot of your calls in the pin chat. Yeah. I don't like to talk about myself, though. That's a problem. I hate it. I don't like it. But hey, we'll see how it goes. I think everyone's got an opinion, though, and I think that's the situation. You've got to play the market as you see fit. I can see things differently to others. That's just the way it is. And people will look at other people for guidance or whatever. But I think right now, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to open up YouTube. Bear with me. I'll open up YouTube. Let's see what's happening on YouTube today. Because I feel like today, of all days, cryptocurrency. So what's happening on YouTube today? So is anyone live for one? A couple of random people live. I hate YouTube. Just going to put that point out there. Anyone else like YouTube? But yeah, it feels like there's a lot of fear in the market. Like obviously like this, for example, no alt season. Is it over? Then you get invest $1,000 in 2025. I mean, okay. Crypto reset complete. Me, hello, the next ETF. See, my title's not really that catchy, is it? I would, if I just do bullish videos like this constantly, I'd get more views, wouldn't I? So yeah, it feels like everyone's I think at a bit of a crossroads at the minute. That's what's good though. That psychological edge is what makes it interesting. Feel free to subscribe. Ooh, we're fairly moved, by the way. We've absolutely in less than a couple of weeks, we've done very well. But yeah, I think what's interesting in the market right now is we're at that situation where is it the bottom or have we already topped? And I think that's where people get a bit scared, and that's what you want. You want to be at that point in the market where you know what's going to happen next based off the fear of everyone else. Right now, altcoins look like they're at levels of historic levels of support on a lot of things. They've held them levels. They just need something to happen. And I think CPI tomorrow might be the thing. So be mindful of that information. It might be interesting, it might create a bit of volatility. But I feel like a lot of people are giving up. I do. You can see that. You can see that across the board. Discord, as I said before, engagements are low right now. It's the core members that are currently talking in my Patreon and in my Learning Crypto one. Learning Crypto is very quiet at the minute. So people are not interested. You've got obviously the live stream numbers. Probably other people's YouTube accounts are quite low as well than normal. It's interesting, right? Why? And I mentioned it before, and if anyone's wondering if you just joined in late, people are expecting February to be uber bullish, and it's not been so far. 11 days in, I know. but it might flip on a sixpence. As I say, tomorrow is CPI day. If CPI comes in fantastic, that market will pump, and then it will create. I think there'll be a lot of short liquidations, and that could be very, very interesting for the market. So yeah, but yeah, my follower graph looks good, but it's because I'm doing consistent content now. I mean, I stopped doing over Christmas. I had a very, very big break. I kind of chilled out. So obviously it was going up a lot over the course of like that time period. And then I kind of stopped around Christmas time and did nothing for like a good while. And then during that time period, just nothing happened for ages. Then I started doing consistent live streams, and now people are coming back. So yeah, live streams are kind of helping in a way. And some of my old videos are doing okay. But yeah, it'd be nice to see if it just keeps growing. But as I say, I want to do live streams every day. I want to do about 1:30. I know today I was a bit earlier than normal, but I've got stuff to do. So yeah, things are very, very interesting right now in the market. And that demographic is important. And it's just how you look at the market. If I look at my YouTube, as you can see here, it's not bad. It's not terrible. But I'm just doing live streams. And before all this, I was doing nothing. So depends. Whereas if I look back at this in terms of like last 30, I've showed you this before, look at that. That was when the market was really hot in that last kind of period. Look at that. Mental. Huge. People will come back. And as I said before, look, I've got 73,000 views. I don't get that many views. 73,000 subscribers. And I don't get huge amounts of views. But ultimately, there's a discrepancy between followers and views, which is obvious. But other accounts are worse than me. I've already looked. Some people have over 1.5 million subscribers and they'll only get 50 to 60,000 views. I will get, 2,000, 2,500 on live stream, which is pretty good, but live streams are displayed differently to a video. So yeah, stuff like that is important. But ultimately, when the people return, guess what? When the green dildo candles come, so do the people. That's where it gets interesting. So you got to look at that as a factor. So yeah, in that time period, I gained 10,300 subscribers in a year, but most of them were in this kind of time frame. You can see it here. This is a subscriber tab. Look at that. Some of the days where I was getting subscribed, like 500 new subscribers in one day. Fucking random. But yeah, it's a period of absolute relentlessness. So yeah, if you want demographics where people are, YouTube is fantastic for it. That's all I'm going to say. Anyways, I'm going to shoot. I need to go and do some stuff. The missus is going to go and get a jab. Unlucky pregnancy. But hey, enjoy. I hope you liked the video and the stream, whatever. I know it's not as fun as normal, but hey, it is what it is, unfortunately.